Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we will talk about finding peaks in our XRD pattern. In previous video, we talked about how we can plot XRD pattern for our existing data. But in this video, we have to adjust some options to find peaks properly for our XRD pattern. Um, for first step, we have to drag and drop file into OriginPro software, and there are columns related to two theta positions and intensity. And if you want to find peaks for our XRD pattern, you have to select these two columns and choose analysis option in peaks and baseline section. Peak analyzer, you have to choose open dialog section. There is a path for your analysis, and you have to choose which of them is your goal. For example, if you want to create a baseline, you have to choose create baseline option, or even if you want, as I mentioned, I want to find peaks for our XRD pattern. So how I have to select find peaks option. Then next, you can see that there is a baseline mode, and it contains many options like minimum and maximum, endpoints weighted, or you can define it manually. So which of them is the best for your baseline calculation? You can see from help section, origin and user guide section, or I prepared a PowerPoint about baseline types. There are types like constant, straight line, use existing dataset, endpoint weighted, minimum and maximum. And they're very different. How can I define it properly? It depends mainly on your XRE pattern, whether it's flat or it contains many noises. As you can see, because our XRD pattern is relatively flat, I have to choose constant mode and select minimum section because it's the best option for our baseline calculation. But if you want to define it manually, there are methods to define the baseline for our XRD pattern manually. And even we can increase the number of baseline, the number of points added to our XRD pattern to change the accuracy of baseline calculation. Um, then the more number of points, the more accuracy you get. When I increase the number to 10, you can see that the number of points, the more points is added to our XRD pattern. And you can see these options from the helps and become familiar with the calculation methods and which of them is the best for your pattern for your analysis. And for the next option, you can see that it is connected by interpolation or fitting. It's the best to choose a fitting section or fitting option, but you can see that there is a flaw or disconnection between these two points. So I have to add it manually, and I select the add section, and you can add points between these two sections. You have to click it for one more time, and you can see that it says that you have added 1 point, and you have to add one more point in this section and there, and it's enough. Okay, it's enough for our calculation, and we have to choose done, and you can see that how our baseline is plotted on our XRD pattern. And even there is a function for our baseline calculation, like a line cubic parabola, but this is the best to select this function, because it contains many parameters, so the accuracy will increase. So it's best to choose this function, and you have to choose next, and you have to subtract the baseline from our XOR pattern. And you can remember that in Expert High Score playlist, we talked about how we can subtract the baseline and background. But in this software, it's very difficult, and you have to adjust some options. For example, in the next section, you can see that for finding peaks, you have to adjust options like the function you want to select to find peaks for our XRD pattern, and there is option for local points. Um, and if I want to talk about how it affects our peak finding, you can see that there is a method like local maximum, window search, first derivative, second derivative, and like that. The local maximum function is that when it checks the peak based on the adjacent point, whether it's at its highest uh, it has highest intensity based on adjacent point. Um, so there are many functions or methods for peak finding, and for our XOR pattern, the local maximum is the best option for finding peaks. And we can select find, and we can see that it found three peaks for our XOR pattern. But if you want to find more peaks, you have to change this option, peak filtering. It can find peaks based on height percent, by number, height value, and even custom. You can write a function for your peak filtering. About by number, you can choose that the number of peaks in our XRD pattern. For example, I guess there will be 15 peaks in our XRD pattern, so you have to choose 15 for our number of peaks, and it finds it automatically. For example, when I choose find, it selected 10 peaks for our XRD pattern. But it's not accurate as other options. And I have to add more local points to get more accuracy, or even choose other options. Um, I choose 10 for our local points, and you can see that it found more peaks for our XR pattern. But some peaks weren't defined. For example, in there, or even about this peak. So we can find it manually by adding some points to our XR pattern. For example, when I choose add section, we can find peaks by selecting manually, or I can change the options. For example, I can select it by height value, and when I choose a number 10 for the height, for the threshold, you can see that how it is difficult, because it checked peaks based on its height or its intensity. So I have to add more. For example, I have to choose 15 or 16. For example, I choose 16 and find, so it's not correct. I can select 18. It's not good, so I can input 85. Um, you have to choose. You have to input more numbers. For example, 19. So you have to add more local points to get more accuracy. So you can see that how it is different for other options. Because when I choose a number of 19 or 18 for a height, and we had fewer local points, it wasn't accurate as increased number of local points. So if we increase number of local points, it gets more accurate, and the accuracy will increase. Uh, and you can see that um, all of the peaks is defined properly, and it may be a peak in our XRD pattern. So you can add it manually. For example, I can choose add and select it manually. And you can see that it says you have added 1 point. And when I select done, you can see that the current number of peaks increased to 16. If I want to export this XORD pattern, I have to select right button on your mouse and export graph, and you can um, define a file name for your XORD pattern. For example, I input calcium fluoride because it's related to calcium fluoride specimen, and I can define a path for our file, and then I can define an image type, for example JPG or PNG. It depends on your goal. um, and in this video we talked about how we can find peaks for our XRD pattern, but it is worth noting that it requires um, um, it requires it requires much accuracy, or you have to spend much time on finding peaks, because you have to you can see that you can see you have to change many options to find peaks properly. So the accuracy is very important in finding peaks. Thank you for your attention. In next video, we want to talk about indexing peaks and the characteristics of peaks. We can find the characteristics for our peaks. And totally thank you for your attention. If you're satisfied with this video, you can subscribe or like this video.